So from the 3, we are progressing into the 4. So we've started from the 1, we've talked about the Qi, we talked about the Tao, we talked about that universal spark. From there we talked about the manifestation of the 2 complementary oppositions, the yin-yang. The more heavenly part is the more yang aspect, and the more earthly part is the more yin aspect. We talked about early heaven and post-heaven, which are 2 different aspects within the idea of the yang energy or the heavenly energy. We talked about yin and yang as opposites that are talking about this connection between the heaven and the earth, which is already connecting and already creating something that is third, and we've seen it within the 3. And in the 3 we've seen the creating of men, and we've seen also the creation of 2 different axes. The first one is the creative axis. We talked about the creation of first the heaven and then the earth. We talked about the universal spark that started this whole motion. From there, the more heavy condenses and creates form and sinks downwards, and the more light and the ethereal goes upwards and creating the more heavenly aspect, and slowly in between them the man is formed. And this is the early heaven, and also what we called the creative axis, where the man is in the center. Then we talked about what happens after the creation, which is actually the life. And then we said we have a horizontal line here, which heaven and earth are also already supporting the man, which is walking between them. This is the 3. We mentioned the 3 treasures, the Qi, Jing, and Shen, and we said that we are going to talk about them later. And from the 3, we go into the 4. First of all, in the 4, we look into the character, and we see in the 4 that it is the first time that the space is starting to create some kind of arrangement. In the character, we can see the square, which is a symbol of space. We can see something that is well defined, and we can see something that is spreading from within in order to somehow to break through from the center. And a square in its nature is an expression of space. And in the 2 we saw there is initial separation into yin and yang. And in the 4 we will see 2 times 2. We will see some kind of another subdivision that occurs here. So if we say that in the 2 we had a separation, then 3 united us again into heaven, earth, man, or heaven, man, earth, and the creative or created axes. In the 4 we see another separation. First of all, it tells us that the even numbers, the 2 and the 4, are more yin in their quality because of their separating abilities. And the 1 and the 3, the odd numbers, and we will see later on, these are more yang numbers by nature, because they are more connected to the heaven, they are more united, they are less stable. So in the 4 is created from within the 2. You see here in the slide that there is a separation into yin and yang, and as you recall, we were talking about 1 line describing yang, and 2 line or a broken line, a broken sequence as a demonstration of yin. So we can see from the universal spark, we can see the archetypes of the yin and the yang. And from within this yin and yang, there is another separation. We can see the yin, the utmost yin, and we see the yang growing from it. And also within the yang, we can see the utmost yang and the yin growing from it. So we already have 4 which are created from the 2.